Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. It's been a lovely week. I want to firstly wish Mazel Tov to Mike and Avril Lawrence on the birth of a new grandson. Teresa and Lauren in London wish you lots of nachas. And we have a special Shabbos this week in Allerton Shul. It's going to be the bat mitzvah of Maya Samson. So we wish her parents, David and Sharon, hearty Mazel Tov, and of course honored grandparents, Alan and Lorraine Coleman. Wish them much nachas from Maya, the bat mitzvah girl, and of course from all their wonderful family. We're going to read the portion of Shelach Lecha. Shelach Lecha is famous for the story of the spies when the Jewish people got nervous before they actually entered the land of Israel. They said to Moses, well, we don't know where we're going, let's send some spies. And Hashem said, okay, if you want, you can. I don't advise it. And as we know, many of the spies came back with a bad report. And that ended up causing them to stay 40 years wandering in the desert. So that's the main story of this week's Sedra. However, towards the end, we have some other interesting parts. And one of them is the mitzvah of challah. You've all heard of challah. Challah, most people think, is a type of bread that we eat on Shabbat, on festivals, Shabbos and Yom Tov. Actually, no. The bread is called challah because when the Jewish people in the desert would make dough, when they came to the land of Israel, when they made dough, they would take a little piece of it, a small amount, depending exactly on how much they made, and they'd give that to the Kohen. In other words, the Kohen, the priests, they didn't really have land and property and jobs in the same way. They were like a tribe of rabbis. They served in the temple, they were learned, and part of their income came from sacrifices, but also from tithes, from cheruma, maaser, things. And when people had firstborn animals, you had to give it to the Kohen. And that was a way that they could, so to speak, be looked after by the people. So one of the donations to the Kohen is the challah, and then the special loaves that were braided for Shabbos, from which we took challah, somehow got the name of being called challahs. It's interesting when the pasuk tells us about this mitzvah, it uses an unusual phrase. Normally, when the Torah speaks about tithes, things relating to food, to land, it tells us kisava el oretz, when you come to the land and you plant trees and you harvest and then you'll give. But with challah it says b'vayachem el oretz. As soon as when you come to the land, you'll start taking challah. So what's the difference between challah that we had to start taking straight away, as soon as they literally made a loaf of bread, from day one, as it were, as opposed to the other things which only came about a bit later, when they conquered and when they settled and when they started taking tithes, that came after a number of years. What was the rush with the challah? So an answer explained is that the core difference is that challah is a beautiful mitzvah that's often done at home. And when things are done at home, what you do in your house has a very big impact. Children see what their parents do and they want to copy. So Hashem didn't want that you wait. As soon as you can do this mitzvah, as soon as you can start training your children to be givers, to realize that, I've got a beautiful dough here, I've got beautiful loaves of bread, I don't have it all for myself, I have to think outside of myself. That type of training to be good people, that type of training to be selfless, and think about the Kohen who works so hard on your behalf, serving Hashem, that you do straight away. As soon as you come in, start that mitzvah. The other things, that takes a bit of time to set up. That takes time till you conquer the land and you settle and you plant. Yes, but the things you do at home, people are watching what we do and people learn from us, especially in the home. As we said, the children see what the parents do, and we, of course, all do what we saw our parents doing. And that's very important. And there's a Mishnah in Ethics of the Fathers, Pirkei Avos, says, "V'hamidu talmidim harbe." You have to have lots of students. Or what if you're not a teacher? Or if you're not a rabbi, how do you have lots of students? The answer is that everyone has students. People look at what you do, and they say, well, it's okay for them. They're so-called religious, so if they think it's all right, why can't I? And if it's for good of course, that's an amazing thing. We then influence people for the better. And if it's for not good, if it's for lowering standards, then of course it's a negative thing, and when we influence people for the worse. So we have to always remember, within our peer group, we're always in some way role models for other people. People are always looking at us. People have a human nature to have somewhat of a sheep mentality. We all are aware to one degree or another of what people around us are doing, and therefore the mitzvah Challah teaches us is that we have to always strive forward and always set a good example as soon as we can. Wish you all Shabbat Shalom and hope to see you soon. Take care.